Have you ever wondered why you react so differently to stress than your best friend does? Or why certain situations make you feel completely drained while others energize you? What if I told you that understanding your unique personality structure could be the key to unlocking better relationships, more success, and genuine happiness in your life? Most people think personality is just one thing. You're either introverted or extroverted. You're either emotional or logical. But that's like saying a smartphone is just a screen when there's actually an entire complex system working underneath. Your personality has layers, just like the most sophisticated technology. And when you understand these layers, everything starts to make sense. I'm going to share something with you today that changed how I see myself and every person I meet. It's called the anatomy of the self model. Think of it as the blueprint for understanding why you are the way you are. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at yourself or your relationships the same way again. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're covering topics like this every week. And if this resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message too. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine your personality is a 3-story house. Most people only pay attention to what's happening on the ground floor. They see their daily thoughts, their immediate reactions, their surface level emotions. But there's so much more happening in the basement and the upper floors that directly impacts everything they experience. This is exactly why so many smart, capable people feel stuck. They're trying to change their lives by rearranging furniture on the ground floor while ignoring the foundation issues in the basement and the structural problems upstairs. It doesn't work, and it leaves you feeling frustrated, like you're working hard but not getting anywhere. The anatomy of the self model shows you all 3 levels of who you are. When you understand how these layers work together, you can finally make changes that actually stick. You can improve your relationships, boost your confidence, and create the life you really want. Let's start with the foundation of who you are, what I call the physical layer. This might surprise you, but your body is constantly shaping your personality in ways you probably never realized. Your genetics play a huge role here. Some people are naturally more sensitive to stimuli. Others have higher energy levels. Some brains process information faster, while others are more creative. This isn't good or bad, it's just different. But understanding your natural wiring helps you work with yourself instead of against yourself. Think about your energy levels throughout the day. Are you a morning person who feels sharp and focused early, or do you come alive in the evening? This isn't just a preference, it's part of your physical structure. Your hormones, your nervous system, even your digestion patterns all influence how you show up in the world. Here's something most people don't realize. Your posture right now is affecting your mood. Stand up straight, pull your shoulders back, and take a deep breath. Notice how that feels different. Your physical state directly impacts your emotional and mental state. When you're slouched over, scrolling through your phone, you're literally programming yourself to feel less confident and more anxious. Your sensory experiences matter too. Some people are highly sensitive to signs, lights, or textures. If you're one of these people, crowded spaces might drain your energy quickly. But if you don't know this about yourself, you might think there's something wrong with you when you feel overwhelmed in situations others seem to handle easily. I had a client who thought she was antisocial because she always felt exhausted after parties. Turns out, she was highly sensitive to sensory input. Once she understood this was part of her physical layer, she could plan accordingly. She'd take breaks, choose smaller gatherings, or position herself in quieter areas. Her social life improved dramatically because she stopped fighting her natural wiring. Your physical layer also includes things like your sleep patterns, your nutrition, and how much movement you get. These directly impact your personality expression. Ever notice how different you feel after a good night's sleep versus when you're running on 4 hours? That's your physical layer influencing everything else. If you're finding this helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps us reach more people who need this information. Now let's move to the second layer, what I call the mental and emotional layer. This is where most of your daily experience happens. Your thoughts, beliefs, emotional patterns, and that constant internal dialogue running in your head. Your thoughts aren't random. They follow patterns you've developed over years, sometimes decades. These patterns were created by your experiences, your upbringing, the messages you received about yourself and the world. Some of these thought patterns serve you well. Others are like computer viruses, running in the background and slowing everything down. Let me give you an example of a common mental virus, the perfectionism virus. This one's sneaky because it often looks like a strength. You have high standards. You pay attention to details. You want to do things right. But underneath, there's usually a fear of not being good enough. So you procrastinate on important projects because if you don't try, you can't fail. Or you spend way too much time on small details while avoiding the bigger, squarier tasks. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Perfectionism is one of the most common mental viruses I see. It creates a loop where you're constantly stressed, never satisfied, and always comparing yourself to others. But once you recognize it as a pattern, rather than just who you are, you can start to change it. Your emotional tendencies are also part of this layer. Some people feel emotions intensely and process them quickly. Others experience emotions more subtly, but hold on to them longer. Neither is better or worse, but understanding your emotional style helps you navigate relationships and stressful situations more effectively. Your self-concept lives here too. This is the story you tell yourself about who you are. Am I smart or not smart enough? Am I attractive or unattractive? Am I worthy of love or do I have to earn it? These beliefs shape every interaction you have and every decision you make. Here's the thing about beliefs. They're often invisible to us. We think they're facts about reality when they're actually just thoughts we've practiced so much they feel true. The belief that you're not good at public speaking becomes true because you avoid speaking opportunities. The belief that you're not relationship material becomes true because you sabotage good connections or settle for less than you deserve. But beliefs can change. I've seen people completely transform their lives by identifying and shifting just a few core beliefs. It takes work, but it's absolutely possible. Your communication patterns are also part of this layer. Do you avoid conflict or dive right into it? Do you need time to process before responding, or do you think out loud? Understanding your natural communication style helps you express yourself more clearly and connect better with others. The mental and emotional layer also includes your coping mechanisms. How do you handle stress? Do you withdraw and isolate? Do you get busy and distracted? Do you seek comfort in food, shopping, or entertainment? These patterns usually developed when you were younger as ways to protect yourself, but they might not be serving you anymore. Your values live in this layer too, though they connect to the deeper layer we'll talk about next. Values are what matter most to you, things like freedom, security, connection, achievement, or creativity. When your life aligns with your values, you feel energized and fulfilled. When there's a mismatch, you feel stressed and empty, even if everything looks good on paper. Now we're ready to explore the deepest layer, what I call the soul or essence layer. This is where your core consciousness resides. Your intuition, your deepest values, your sense of purpose, and your connection to something larger than yourself. This layer is harder to put into words because it's more about experiencing than thinking. It's that quiet knowing you sometimes feel about what's right for you. It's the part of you that remains consistent, even as your thoughts and emotions change throughout the day. Your intuition lives here. That gut feeling you get about people or situations, the sudden insight that comes when you're not trying to figure something out. This sense of knowing that doesn't come from logical analysis, but feels absolutely true. Many people have learned to ignore their intuition, especially if they grew up in environments that valued logical thinking over inner knowing. But your intuition is constantly giving you information about what's aligned for you and what isn't. Learning to listen to it and trust it is like having an internal GPS system for your life. Your deepest values come from this layer too. Not the values you think you should have, but the ones that feel true at your core. These might be things like authenticity, compassion, growth, or justice. When you make decisions based on these deep values, you feel a sense of rightness and energy. When you go against them, you feel drained and conflicted, even if the decision makes logical sense. Your sense of purpose connects to this layer as well. This isn't necessarily about having one big life mission, though it could be. It's more about understanding what gives your life meaning and direction. For some people, it's raising children. For others, it's creating art or building businesses or helping people heal. Your purpose might evolve over time, but the feeling of living purposefully comes from this deep layer. Some people also experience a spiritual dimension in this layer. This might be a connection to nature, to humanity, to a higher power, or to the mystery of existence itself. This isn't about specific religious beliefs, but about recognizing that you're part of something larger than your individual self. Here's what's really important to understand. These three layers don't operate independently. They're constantly influencing each other in ways that shape your entire experience of life. Your physical state affects your thoughts and emotions. When you're tired, hungry, or stressed physically, you're more likely to have negative thoughts and feel overwhelmed emotionally. When you're well rested and energized, the same situations feel much more manageable. Your thoughts and emotions affect your physical body too. Chronic worry creates tension in your muscles. Anger raises your blood pressure. Excitement gives you energy. Joy relaxes your face and opens your posture. Your mental and emotional patterns literally shape your physical experience. Your deepest layer, your essence, influences everything above it. When you're connected to your values and purpose, you make different choices. You think different thoughts. You handle challenges with more resilience. You show up differently in your relationships. But the reverse is also true. When you take care of your physical layer by eating well, sleeping enough, and moving your body, you create space for deeper connection to your essence. When you clean up your mental and emotional patterns, you can hear your intuition more clearly. This is why so many self-improvement efforts fail. People try to change just one layer without addressing the others. They try to think positive thoughts while ignoring their physical exhaustion. They try to find their purpose while their mind is full of limiting beliefs. They try to eat better while their emotions are driving them to seek comfort in food. Real change happens when you work with all three layers together. This is what creates lasting transformation instead of temporary fixes. Let me give you a practical example. Say you want to improve your confidence. Most people try to do this just by changing their thoughts. They tell themselves they're confident. They practice positive affirmations. They try to act more confident. But if their physical layer is depleted from poor sleep and too much caffeine, and their emotional layer is full of old beliefs about not being good enough, the mental effort alone won't create lasting change. A more effective approach would address all three layers. On the physical level, you'd make sure you're taking care of your basic needs: good sleep, proper nutrition, regular movement. This gives you the energy foundation for confidence. On the mental and emotional level, you'd identify and work with the specific beliefs that undermine your confidence. Maybe it's the belief that you have to be perfect to be worthy of respect, or that other people's opinions define your worth. You'd practice new thoughts while also addressing the emotional wounds that created these beliefs in the first place. On the essence level, you'd connect with your deeper values and purposes. When you're living from your authentic self, rather than trying to please others or meet external expectations, natural confidence emerges. It's not based on performance or achievement, but on knowing who you are and standing in that truth. This might sound like a lot of work, but here's the beautiful thing. When you start working with your personality structure instead of against it, changes happen more easily and naturally. You stop fighting yourself and start flowing with who you really are. Understanding your unique personality structure also transforms your relationships. Instead of expecting others to be like you, you start to appreciate their different layers. You realize that your partner's need for quiet time isn't rejection, it's their physical layer requiring rest. Your friend's emotional intensity isn't drama, it's their natural way of processing experiences. This understanding creates newer compassion, both for yourself and others. You stop taking things so personally because you understand that everyone is operating from their own unique structure. You can communicate more effectively because you understand different styles and needs. It also helps you make better decisions about who to spend time with and how to structure your life. If you know you're highly sensitive to energy, You can choose environments and relationships that support you rather than drain you. If you know you're motivated by creative expression, you can prioritize activities that feed that part of you. Your career choices become clearer too. Instead of following what you think you should do or what looks impressive to others, you can choose work that aligns with all three layers of who you are. Work that energizes rather than exhausts you. Work that uses your natural strengths and serves your deeper values. If you're getting value from this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed because we explore topics like limiting beliefs, relationship dynamics, and personal growth strategies every single week. And definitely check out our other videos on understanding emotional patterns and creating lasting change. So how do you start working with your own personality structure? The first step is simply awareness. Start paying attention to patterns across all three layers. Notice your physical patterns. When do you have the most energy? What environments make you feel good versus drained? How does your body respond to different types of stress? What physical practices help you feel more centered and strong? Observe your mental and emotional patterns. What thoughts tend to repeat in your mind? What triggers certain emotional responses? What beliefs about yourself and the world guide your decisions? What stories do you tell yourself about why things happen? Connect with your essence layer. What values feel most true for you? When do you feel most like yourself? What activities or experiences make you feel connected to something larger? What does your intuition tell you about the direction of your life? Start small. Pick one pattern from any layer that you'd like to shift. Maybe it's going to bed earlier to support your physical layer. Maybe it's questioning a limiting belief that's been holding you back. Maybe it's spending more time in activities that align with your values. Work with that one pattern for a few weeks and notice how it affects the other layers. Often, changing one thing creates positive ripples throughout your entire system. Remember, this isn't about becoming a different person. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about understanding your unique design so you can work with it instead of against it. It's about recognizing that your personality isn't fixed, but it does have a structure that you can learn to navigate skillfully. The goal isn't perfection or even dramatic change. The goal is greater self-awareness, more self-compassion, and more alignment between who you are and how you live. When these three layers work together harmoniously, life becomes more flowing, relationships become more fulfilling, and you feel more at peace with yourself. Your personality structure is like your personal operating system. The better you understand how it works, the more effectively you can navigate challenges, make decisions, and create the life you want. And unlike computer operating systems, yours is constantly evolving and adapting based on your experiences and choices. You have more influence over your personality than you might think. While you can't change your basic wiring, you can absolutely change your patterns, beliefs, and responses. You can heal old wounds, develop new skills, and align more closely with your authentic self. This work is ongoing. As you grow and change, new layers of understanding emerge. Situations that used to trigger you stop having the same effect. You handle stress more gracefully. Your relationships improve. You make decisions more confidently. You feel more like yourself in all areas of your life. If you found this perspective helpful, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. What layer resonates most with you right now? What patterns are you noticing in your own personality structure? And definitely share this video with someone who's on their own journey of self-understanding. Remember, understanding yourself isn't selfish or self-indulgent. It's one of the most generous things you can do, because the better you understand yourself, the better you can show up for the people in your life. You can love more fully, communicate more clearly, and contribute more meaningfully when you're operating from self-knowledge rather than self-judgment. Your personality structure is beautifully complex and uniquely yours. Take time to explore it with curiosity and compassion. The insights you gain will serve you for the rest of your life, and the people around you will benefit from your increased self-awareness too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore how to work with specific personality patterns to create lasting positive change in your life.